This is some new stuff that just came out. Check it out. This is that new notebook ML. It's pretty tight though. I've been using it. You're gonna love this thing. So it's interactive. Okay.
Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going deep on something a lot of you have been asking about, the differences between a resume and a CV.
Yeah, resumes and CVs.
Exactly. Now, I'll admit, I kind of thought they were basically the same thing,
Oh, yeah, I hear that a lot.
but looking through everything you said over for this deep dive, I can definitely see that there's a lot more to it.
Absolutely. And it really comes down to their purpose.
Oh, okay. So how are they different?
Well, a resume is what you use when you're looking for a job. It's short and sweet, targeted to a specific job, and focuses on the skills and experience that make you a good fit for that role.
Okay, so it's like your quick sales pitch.
Exactly. A CV, on the other hand, is like your whole life story, professionally speaking, at least. It's a complete record of your academic and professional achievements. It's more about, oh, wait, someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
Hey, so what did you say a CV was for? And I mean, I'm a professional also. I'm the
Okay, so a
CEO.
CV is produced when you're an expert witness.
Yeah, it's like a document that shows off all your knowledge and
It
experience.
really highlights your qualifications and expertise in your field.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit more then, because it's not just a fancy resume.
No, not at all. Hey, yeah, what's up?
Okay, I didn't mean to bug you, but yeah, I'm the CEO of Beyond AI Solutions, and we did a CV also because I'm certified in a lot of this stuff, the FCRA, the FDCPA, for scoring, and also I'm board certified. So yeah, I can feel you, and I'm
Okay, so it sounds like you're very familiar with the process of creating a CV given your background.
That's awesome, and it's great that you're so experienced in these things.
What's fascinating here is that you brought up those certifications because that is a perfect example of something that would be included in a CV.
Absolutely. Those are exactly the types of credentials that demonstrate expertise in your field.
And it sounds like you understand that a CV is a different kind of document than a resume.
Yeah, it's not just some marketing document, it's proof of what you've learned,
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, your certifications are part of a detailed history of your expertise.
which is why a CV is so important when someone is trying to be seen as an expert.
This raises an important question. What else makes a CV different from a resume?
Right, so it's not just a summary of skills, it's a comprehensive record.
Well, it includes a comprehensive listing of your education, certifications, research, and professional memberships.
So it's like the director's commentary for folks who really want to know about the craft. Oh, you can feel it. That's really interesting.
It sounds like you're connecting with the material on a deeper level.
Maybe it's because you can experience in this area.
It really validates the points we're making about the purpose of a CV, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's like, oh yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, so I mean, the CV, it's very important, especially when you're finna, you finna try to get that check from the lawyer. You're gonna want to be a CV because, you know,
Okay, yeah, that's a great point. It's definitely key to have a CV if you're looking to work with attorneys as an expert.
What's fascinating here is that you're bringing up the financial aspect of it, which makes it clear that a CV is not just for academic purposes.
Right, it's a professional document that proves your value and expertise, and yes, it helps get that check.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we've talked about the difference between a resume and a CV and how a resume is a marketing document.
Yeah, and a CV is all about your credentials.
Well, you need a CV if you're going to be an expert witness, and that's where your expertise becomes valuable to lawyers.
Exactly, it's like saying, here's why my expertise is worth paying for.
This raises an important question. How does a CV do that? What makes a CV so important to lawyers?
Well, it's your formal record. It proves you are an expert in your field.
Right, which is why it's different from a yep, go on.
yeah, it is different from a resume, but the importance of it is you gotta make sure that you have all that stuff organized. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these guys, they may have a certification or whatever, but they probably don't even know where it's at, right? But like each one of your certifications, you're gonna want to have it organized and have it documentation, with your descriptions and everything. So it's easy to read. especially when you're trying to, get to be that expert witness, right? So, yeah.
Okay, that's a really important point you're bringing up.
Yeah, it's not enough just to have the credentials. You need to be able to present them well.
What's fascinating here is you're pointing out that organization is key.
Right, because a CV is all about making your expertise easy to understand.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's not just a list, it's a narrative.
Yeah, you're telling a story about your professional journey, and that story needs to be clear.
This raises an important question. How do you organize that?
Okay, so let's unpack that a little.
Well, you mentioned that having all of your certifications is important.
Yeah, it's not enough to just say you're certified.
You need to be able to easily point to the actual document.
Exactly. You need to have descriptions and everything laid out.
Because if it's hard to follow, then it doesn't matter how qualified you are.
So it's not just what you include, it's how you include it.
Exactly. And that organization and documentation is really key.
So when it comes to content, a CV isn't just a copy of a resume.
Right. A resume focuses on skills, but a CV goes deeper,
It includes all of your education, publications, presentations, and research.
which, as you said, should be well organized and easy to read.
It's a portfolio of your knowledge and contribution to your field.
And that connects back to what you were saying about certifications.
Yeah, and you brought up your experience as a CEO, which also belongs on a CV.
So in your case, with Beyond AI, it makes perfect sense to have one.
So again, it's not a marketing document, it's a credentials document.
Precises. While a resume sells your skills, a CV shows your credentials.
Okay, so it's not enough just to have the skills, you need the record.
Exactly. This is especially true for expert witnesses.
Okay, so where were we? Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, because, I got a little over 10,000 hours in. So my expertise is so valuable that, I make anywhere from, $500 to $600 an hour. Uh, and, I help draft letters. I help, analyze reports. Uh, we even use Metro 2. And I am Rome, your neighborhood AI guru. So, we do this thing meticulously. We do it as a professional. So when we go on the stand, we know exactly what we're talking about.
Okay, yeah, that's amazing. It sounds like you've really put in the time to become an expert.
What's fascinating here is that you're bringing up the amount of hours you've dedicated to your craft.
And, that's the type of experience that makes a CV so valuable for somebody in your field.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's clear that you understand the value of your expertise.
Right, it's not just about having the knowledge, but demonstrating that you've applied it.
And this raises an important question. How do people like you use their CVs?
Well, it's definitely a way for you to demonstrate your expertise, and you can see the importance.
And it's not just something academics use.
That's a great point. It's used in various professional fields. Oh, back to our listener. What's up?
Oh, okay. So the way I use it is okay. So we'll help the client draft the dispute letter. And I'm not even going through our whole system that we do. I'm just getting to the nitty gritty. So once we help them draft that thing, they mail it off, certified mail. And if the credit bureaus don't fix it, then what we do a call, and we help them walk them through the phone call and stuff to ask them questions about the investigation. Now, if they don't fix it, then we take their file and we give it to the attorney, and then we talk to business about the CV, and everything, how we can help them out, to prep them on it, consult them about the documents and everything, because we don't want to keep it organized and everything, and and then next thing we getting a check.
Okay, wow. That's a really clear picture of how you use a CV in your practice.
What's fascinating here is that you're describing how your CV is a crucial tool to show your value to attorneys.
Right. You're not just handing over a file, you're showing them the depth of your expertise step by step.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you're demonstrating how the CV ties into the whole process of working with clients of lawyers.
Absolutely. It's like you're saying, here's how I can help, and here's why you should trust my expertise.
This raises an important question. How is that process different from a resume?
Well, a resume, as we've said before, is a marketing document.
Right, and yours is not just about marketing yourself for a job.
Exactly. It's all about showing off your credentials and how you use that expertise in your work.
So it's like a behind-the-scenes look at how your expertise translates into results for your clients.
And that includes how you help them draft letters, analyze reports, and prepare for calls.
And that's why a CV is so important for someone like you working with attorneys.
Okay, yeah, it really does make things, doesn't it?
What's fascinating is how you've connected the process to the purpose of a CV.
Right. It's not just about having a document. It's about how it all fits together in practice.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we're seeing how the CV works for you and your business.
You're using the CV to demonstrate your expertise and your meticulous approach.
This raises an important question. How do you make sure your CV reflects all of this?
Well, you need a comprehensive list of your experiences, right?
Exactly. It's not enough to just, oh, go for it.
Well, what I did is I took all of my certifications. I'm generative AI certified also, but I was able to make it like as if it was, like a presentation type thing. Put it on Google Docs. I was able to make some nice descriptions explaining, what each document is, the time that went in, the grade that was scored, everything about it's like a picture of, this is what I've accomplished, this is what I'm practicing, so we didn't stop.
Okay, wow, that's a fantastic way to organize your certifications.
What's fascinating here is that you've turned your CV into a presentation.
Right, you're not just listing them, you're giving them context and demonstrating value.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you are highlighting your expertise.
Exactly. It's a much more engaging way to present your credentials.
This raises an important question. How does this connect back to the CV itself?
Well, that approach you took really emphasizes the depth of your knowledge.
It's like saying, here's proof of my expertise with all the details.
And that's what a CV is all about. It's a demonstration of knowledge.
That's a key component of your credentials, isn't it?
Exactly. And that process you just described, it is all part of your credentials.
So your CV is not just a summary of what you've done, it's a demonstration of how you apply your knowledge. Okay, that's a great way to put it, that it's a picture of what you've accomplished.
Yeah, it's like you're not just listing things, you're showing them,
What's fascinating here is that you've created something visual, like a presentation.
And you've taken it a step further by adding those detailed descriptions.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, your approach really emphasizes the importance of communication and organization.
Right, it's not just a list, it's a story, it's a presentation, it's you. So it's like a deep dive into what makes you, you in your field.
So a CV is going to be super comprehensive.
Exactly. Think education, certifications, research experience, professional affiliations, and memberships.
So not just a list of jobs, but a full picture of your expertise.
Precisely. And it's all about that demonstration of knowledge.
So we mentioned this a bit, but think of all the different credit reports you've looked at and, the attorneys and high clearance people you've worked with. And this raises an important question about how a CV is structured.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit more.
We've already covered that it has to be a comprehensive listing.
It includes your education, certifications, research, everything.
But what does that actually look like in practice?
It's not just a copy-paste of your resume. Right, your CV is a place for all of that experience.
Yeah, it gives you credibility as an expert witness.
And it's a key thing to produce when you are going to be an expert witness.
So it's like it showcases your experiences and knowledge in detail.
So things like your education, certifications, and research.
Absolutely. And professional affiliations, too. Everything that proves you are an expert.
Which is why it's way more detailed than a resume.
It's a historical record of your professional life.
Okay, so it's not just a marketing document, it's a record of credentials.
Exactly. It's there to show your depth of knowledge.
Yes, and that's crucial when you're offering expert testimony.
This reminds me of something from our source material, Exactly. It's much more detailed and comprehensive.
So it's a presentation of your qualifications, not a sales pitch for a job.
Right. And if it's for legal purposes, it needs to be very clear and very well organized.
That's why your approach of using Google Docs to create something visual is great.
And it highlights the importance of making your expertise easily understood.
Okay, so now that we've talked about structure, let's talk more about content. Oh yes, the comparison with a resume, right?
What's fascinating is that while a resume gets you a job, a CV shows your experience.
Yeah, exactly. And this difference is especially important for certain professions.
Oh, like what?
That makes a lot of sense, especially when you're working with attorneys.
Right. They need to know they're working with a true expert. Well, a CV includes everything you've done to build your expertise.
It's a complete record of all of your achievements.
And it shows what you've learned over the course of doing things.
That's a huge difference from a resume, which is all about selling your skills.
Right. A CV is all about demonstrating what you've actually done.
It's of a detailed history of your qualifications.
Exactly. It's a professional biography that showcases your deep expertise.
Okay, so if we're talking about content, what does that actually look like?
Well, it's a comprehensive listing of your education and research experience.
It also includes any professional affiliations and memberships you have.
And it showcases your certifications and qualifications.
It could include the types of credit reports you have reviewed. So a CV isn't just a fancy resume, it's a serious professional tool.
And we can see that from your experiences you've shared with us.
Where you've
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Do you know what CV even mean?
Okay, that's a great question. It's easy to get caught up in the details and forget the basics.
Yeah, it's like we're throwing around these terms and we might not have fully defined them.
So CD stands for Curriculum Vitae, which is Latin for course of life.
Okay, so it's not just a fancy resume. It's literally about the whole course of your professional life.
Exactly, and that's why it's so detailed, right? It's a comprehensive record of your professional journey.
Oh, I see. It's like it's meant to tell the story of how you became an expert.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's not just a list, it's a narrative of your career.
Right, and that's why the content of a CV is so important, like we were just talking about.
This raises an important point about how a CV is structured to reflect that journey.
So a CV isn't just a fancy resume. It's a comprehensive professional biography, and the name itself means course of life.
And that's a great segue into our next point about content.
Okay, so we were talking about the different things that are on a CV,
And that it might mention you've worked alongside attorneys.
or that you've worked with people with high security clearances,
All these details help to paint a picture of your knowledge and experiences.
and to show that you are a credible expert in your field.
It's like you said, it's not just a list, it's a detailed presentation.
And it's not a marketing document, it's a credentials document.
Yep, consulting experts and testifying experts.
Exactly. Resumes are competency-based, remember?
Yeah, they focus on skills and achievements. They are like a personal marketing document.
But a CV is credential-based, focusing on your qualifications and experience.
Yeah, it's not just what's on there, it's how it's organized.
And how you present it in discussions and consultations.
So a resume is for getting a job. A CV is for demonstrating your expertise.
Okay, I think we've really unpacked the differences.
Yeah, and thanks to your input, we've seen how it all works in the real world.
Absolutely. It was awesome to hear about your experience creating your CV.
And how you use it in your practice with attorneys.
All of that helps solidify the points we were discussing.
It was great to see how this all connects.
I think this has been a great deep dive into resumes and CVs.
Yeah, and hopefully this helps clarify the differences for everyone listening.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
So you need to have those descriptions and everything laid out.
Because if it's hard to follow, it doesn't matter how qualified you are, which really highlights the difference between a resume and a CV.
A resume sells you for a job. A CV proves you're an expert.
So if you're an expert witness, a CV is absolutely essential.
Absolutely. It establishes your credibility in the legal world.
Well, I think that's a great place to wrap this one up.
Yeah, it was great to hear from you today.
Thanks for sharing your experience. It really brought this topic to life.
And thank you for joining us today on our deep dive.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And I'm Rome, your neighborhood AI guru, signing off. Peace out. Love y'all, YouTube.
Aha, well, thanks for clarifying, and it's great to have your perspective.
What's fascinating is that you've been so engaged with the material and that you've brought so much of your own experience to the conversation.
And, you're clearly very knowledgeable in the field, so it was awesome having you share all of that.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you've demonstrated the value of both a CV and having real-world expertise.
Exactly. All of that experience makes a CV super valuable, as we've discussed.
This raises an important point. Even though you said you were wrong, we still learned a lot from your experiences. Okay, well, that was a great...
Oh, go for it.
No, I'm Rome, Rome, your neighborhood AI guru.
Okay, Rome, thanks for clarifying. It's great to know your name.
Yeah, Rome, it's awesome to put a name to the voice that's been chiming in.
And, it's interesting how that little misunderstanding highlights how important it is to be clear and precise in communication.
Right. I mean, a CV is all about making sure that people know who you are and what you've done.
Exactly. And it connects back to what we've been saying about being detailed and organized.
So thanks for helping us make that point, even unintentionally.
Okay, thanks for the clarification, Rome.
Yeah, thanks for letting us know.
What's fascinating here is that even though we were all a little confused about the name, it didn't change the value of your contributions.
Right, your insights on CDs and your experience were really helpful.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it highlights the importance of clarity.
And, it's important to get things right, especially when you're talking about credentials.
Yeah, that really brings it home, doesn't it?
So now it seems like a good place to wrap things up.
Absolutely, and we've covered a lot of ground today.
We've talked about how a resume is a marketing document.
And that a CV is a detailed record of your credentials.
We've seen how a CV is for experts, like expert witnesses.
This raises an interesting point about how easily we can misinterpret things.
Yeah, even a small thing like a name can cause confusion.
So now that we have that straightened out, we can move on.
Okay, so we were talking about how a CV is used for expert witnesses.
And that there are actually two types of expert witnesses.
Right, you have your consulting experts and your testifying experts.
Exactly, and they each have different roles in legal proceedings.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit more.
Well, a consulting expert is hired by an attorney.
But they don't testify in court.
Right, they're more of a behind-the-scenes advisor.
It's like they're part of the legal team, but not in the spotlight.
And we've even looked at what actually goes into a CV.
Yeah, and it really helped to clarify the point we were trying to make about the differences.
So thanks for being so open and for sharing all of that knowledge, Rome.
Okay, so before we wrap up, let's quickly touch on a couple more things.
We were about to talk about how an expert like John Holheimer's CV would have his experience working for FICO and Equifax.
Yes, his CV would have all of his experience working for FICO and Equifax.
And the other side doesn't even need to know that they exist.
Okay, so their work is confidential.
Exactly, and any information they provide is considered privileged.
So it's like they're working with the attorney as another attorney in the firm.
Yep, they're helping build the case, but they're not going to be on the stand.
Okay, that's good to know, especially when we're talking about CVs.
And what's the difference between a resume and a CV, Rome?
Education, certifications, research, affiliations.
It's much more than just a fancy resume.
Right, it's a professional biography that shows